fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and past. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyushu here, and now, let's open up to a scene. We do currently have a person who, they were somebody of reason. They were somebody that is completely different than they are now. And if that person were to look into a mirror and see the person they are today, they would not recognize them. As you do have the scene, a man, he's currently looking down at a few bodies, and he doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. Now, with that being said, we do open up to a scene. A man, he's walking around the perimeter of a fence, and he's looking out. As, for a split second, he thinks he hears something in the distance. However, he just chalks up to one of the noises behind him. And he's just thinking about what's going to be happening today. He knows that in about 2 hours he gets off his shift, and he'll be able to at least get some of the rations that he's been promised for covering for somebody. And he's also at least curious. He wonders what type of candy bar they're going to give him this time. Since the last time he covered their shift, he got at least a really good one. It had chocolate in it, and maybe this time he might get one with vanilla or maybe even cinnamon. And that's something that the person they are thinking about. As you do have, where around a corner somebody does come bolting around and they're running. As they do look out kind of confused. They do go to bring their gun up and aim down the scope. As when they do look down and see that that's an actual person who's running, they do see directly what's behind them. As a horde of zombies does come running around the corner, and, well, many of them, yeah, they're very large creatures. And it does seem like they're all melting together. And the girl, she's currently running and just trying to stay ahead. As you do have where she has to press a button on something, and they go to toss it over the fence and turn. Her quickly going to run while she's out of breath, as you do have where it does fly through the air and smash onto the ground. As however, the zombies are still coming towards them, everybody, they do start to get into position. Some yelling out for exactly what's about to happen. As however, the large dinner bell starts going off, everybody, they do at least go to turn and look down at the thing. Somebody running over and trying to turn it off. However, when they do try to press and slam onto some buttons, it doesn't work. And you do actually have where someone, they do walk over and just go to fire a few bullets into it. As the device does shut off and quit making noise. And you do currently have everybody who they do start to fire off at the zombies. And they are just trying to take care of this mess. And somebody they're at least talking about how there was a girl running towards the fence when these things came around. Now, the people, they are able to hold onto their defense for a good solid minute. However, you do actually have whenever they do hear something that causes them to look up. As they heard something hit one of the skyscrapers directly above them. And the moment they all do go to look up, they do see that skyscraper, one of the support pillars had just been smashed into. And none of them, they know what to do. As it's kind of weird. The top part of that building did start to burn out. How the concrete did remain. And it shouldn't be able to break like that. Now, you do actually have where a loud roar is heard. And everybody, they do go looking upwards to see All Might, who does go to step out from the building. And the moment he does go to look down, he does go to take a step forwards. As his body, it does start to fall, before he does go to grab onto the bottom part of the building. and he's holding onto it like a spider. As whenever everybody they do start looking at All Might, they do immediately start shouting. As everyone, they are on high alert, since number one fucking hero. Now, everybody they do start to fire off in that direction, and we do currently at least have the person who they were running towards the fence. As you do have Kendo. Right now, she currently did go to dive directly out of the way and into a subway station. Her running down the staircase, finding the nearest door, and slamming it behind her. As she's currently at least going to sit down and lean against the wall. Her huffing and puffing as she's going to fumble for her radio. Now, you do actually have back with Deku, who he does hear her radio in, as he's currently making his way back to the rendezvous point and taking care of zombies that he does pass along the way. And Deku, whenever his radio does crackle to life, he does go to turn it down in his hand and go to press a button. Hello? Deku actually going to bring up his robotic arm and go to push against the zombie with it before going to shove it over. Deku using his leg to trip it. What's up? Is everything fine? Yeah. Holy shit. That actually worked. Did it? I think so, yeah. I heard a loud crash a minute ago. I'm hiding in the subway station halfway down the street. Good. Alright. Now we have to wait. Wait? I don't think I can wait down here all day. I'd be willing to go back up there, but with the idea that All Might's, well, up there along with those zombies, I might get caught. Kendo? We get it. What street are you on? Her going to say around the corner of this street in this one. As she's talking about how she's in the, well, left closet when you do run on the staircase and into the station. Now, Kendo, she does try to keep quiet, since she's hearing tons of gunfire. And, well, yeah, it doesn't sound too good. And we do actually have where Deku, after being picked up by Momo, him and the crew, they all do get back together. As by the time everybody is all picked up and made their way to the actual camp, you do have where All Might, he's still ripping his way through. And he's tearing apart survivors and zombies alike. And whenever Deku, he does get close enough to see this, he does watch on from a nearby building, as he's currently looking down the scope of a sniper rifle and staring down at the camp. As Deku, he does go to make some adjustments on the scope to zoom out. And he is talking about how this has actually gone pretty well. Has it? Yeah. Let's see. Aside from everything with getting Kendo out of the subway station, it should all be fine. But I mean, just look. They're practically done. All Might's got some good damage in on him. That being what Deku he is thinking. And we do actually have, or whenever he does go to look back down the sights, he does hear somebody else talk about how it does seem kind of weird though. What do you mean? Well, don't zombies travel in patterns? Or even in packs? Yeah, they do. Why? I mean, we've never really seen a zombie like All Might, have we? He rips apart other zombies. He eats them. And he even does the same thing for people. So, what are you getting at? I don't know. But doesn't All Might seem to at least maintain a lot of his power? He doesn't. Deku at least going to look down at All Might, as he is going to wrap his finger around the trigger and go to at least aim for the head. Deku at least going to think, if he can get that lucky shot in, he could kill him. If he can shoot All Might directly in the head right now, he could take him down, but All Might would hear the shots. And that's the thing that does bug Deku. They know All Might can hear. His seeing, it may be bad, it may be good, it's just iffy. All Might looked right at him. He must have. He knows he did not imagine it. He tried to say something. And that's what is really messing with Deku. As we do have for Deku, he does hear a faint voice ask Izuku if he really does plan to kill All Might. And Deku, he does go to hesitate before going to turn. Did anyone say something? What? No, we didn't say anything. I didn't say anything either. Toga, did you say anything? No, I didn't. Okay, that's weird. Deku turning back. He could have swore he heard another voice. But that's strange. He could have swore it sounded like Kirishima. He knows it was a guy, but Kirishima, he's not talking to him. He did want to make sure that people were okay. That being something that Deku does think about. The fact that this plan's gone on without a hitch so far, that's what he's enjoying about this. But it must be too good to be true. They have to go in there and clean this up, though. Make sure everyone's dead. And that's something that Deku is thinking about. As while he is staring at All Might, you do have where All Might, after he does go to throw a heavy vehicle directly clear into a building, he does smash into it and kill somebody. And Deku, he's trying to keep track of the numbers. Since these people, they're all being overwhelmed by different types of zombies. And right now, from what he's seeing, pattern-like behavior. All Might is the alpha. All Might, he's watching fellow zombies get killed. And he's not trying to attack or plan anything out. But he does have basic intelligence. Okay, so animal-like instincts, possibly. What more can you see, Izuku? Come on, there's gotta be something you're missing. He's gotta be intelligent, but basic intelligence. That's gotta be at least his level. Okay. Some are smart enough for traps. This must be another form of it. But does he recognize me? Come on. There's gotta be something in there. Damn it, Izuku, he isn't human anymore. Get that through your fucking skull. He's not a person. He's dead. Just like Mom, just like Bakugo, just like Mitsuki. And if you miss a shot, so is everyone else. You could die. She could die. Everyone. Deku is going to have that thought run through his head, as he does talk about how he's going to be right back. As Deku does go to make his way down the staircase. As Deku does make his way down the stairs, everyone they do watch as he does go to pull a gun from his side. And after he does walk down it, he does go to leave. As everyone there is trying to think. Them trying to mate, asking if she still does have her timer running. Yeah, I do. Let's see. About, since we've seen All Might, possibly 30, 40 minutes. Really? Yeah, from what I can tell. We have had him for 40 minutes. As for how long he's been large, we don't know. The fact that we're just trying to run down the clock right now, it does show that we're at least on our best stance. Right now, our problem is Kendo. Deku, while he is making his way downstairs, he does go to shoot through some zombies. As the commotion Deku is making, it pales in comparison to what All Might's doing. And anytime Deku does fire a shot off, zombies they do go to either look towards him or look back towards what All Might's doing. Since the amount of damage he is causing, it makes what Deku's doing look like nothing. And that's something that Deku he does pay attention to. As he does go to jolt that down mentally about zombies going after louder noises, and even, well, stimuli that they can see. Now, this does add to a few of Deku's theories. As while he's running down the street, he does go to back in an alleyway, and then go to run down that one. Him actually, while he's running down, he does go to turn to his right, and go to run through another part of the alley. As he can see the station, as he does go to get through it, and then go to run down the staircase to find Kendo. As whenever Deku does get to the door, he does see a zombie. Deku going to put his gun back into his holster and then go to pull a knife. As the moment Deku does go to get up onto it, he does go to stab it in the back of the head before pulling the knife back. As he does go to throw the zombie down to the left before going to open the door. And whenever he does go to at least see Kendo, who she's got her back against the door, and her hands up against her ears. As whenever Deku he does go to at least tell her that they're fine, she does actually go to turn around and look up. As the moment she does go to jump upwards and go to directly push past Izuku, her punching her body or punching her hand directly into a zombie's chest and pushing it backwards. As the zombie, whenever it does get hit, it does go stumbling backwards and falling into something, as it does make a large sound. Now, when that does actually happen, we do have where Deku, he does look around before going to reach for a flashlight on his belt, and I'm going to pull one up. The moment he does go to do this, so does Kendo. And the moment the two do go to click on and look around, you do have in the subway station. The floor it's covered with something, and they can't really tell what it is. And then there's the zombie. Whenever they do look down, it looks like the zombie's trying to get back up. However, when it does so, it looks like it was starting to fuse with the floor, since some of its skin is hanging on the ground and leaving threads back to the body. And that's something that Deku, when he does go to see, he does go to step forwards and go to kick the zombie directly in the face, as he does tell it to just stay the fuck down. And Deku, when he does go to do that, he does actually go to get directly overhead the zombie before going to crush its skull with his foot. Before he does go to look around a bit more, and Kendo, she does at least go to stare at Deku for a second. As whenever Deku does go to turn, he does ask, "What's up?" As Kendo is going to bring up her hand up to her mouth, and going to click off her lights. And Deku, the moment he does at least see her do that, he does go to click off his light too, as he does go to wait in the dark. Him waiting for Kendo to say something. As you do have, where Deku, he's just waiting. He hasn't moved his head. However, he can tell that there's something in here. At first he thought it was just that zombie, but he was stupid. How could he have said something out loud? Shit, okay. They assumed the subway tunnels, they were, well, possible areas. But the fact that there were no zombies here, it's too dark. Shit, when did the lights in here turn off? Or no, this must be deliberate. Maybe the subway's still running and this is a way to conserve power. No, that wouldn't make sense though. Why would the line's light be off? Deku at least going to somewhat look in the corner of his eye. As over Deku, he does at least go to look in the corner of his eye, he does see something that does look like part of a mouth. And Deku, the moment he does go to somewhat turn his head a little, he does stare directly at a zombie, as it clearly has gone blind. And Deku, he is just staying there. He's still got the flashlight in his hand. And the zombie is just one of many. He can see it. He can see that there's more behind it. And he does go to slowly start to back away. Him trying to be careful with his shoes. As over Deku, he does go to step backwards. He actually does at least go to feel his shoe be slippery. As he does go to have to bring up his other foot and go to kick off that shoe before he does go to bend down slowly. Kendo watching Deku, as Deku, he does go to look towards her and go to signal. Him looking down at his feet as Kendo does go to do the same thing. And the moment Deku does go to wrap his shoe strings together, he does go to hold them up. Him holding his shoes as he does go to chuck them as hard as he can into the dark. And the moment his shoes do go flying, you do have Kendo, who after a loud crash is heard, she's going to throw them in another direction. As whenever Deku, after the first crash, he can hear zombies starting to swarm around where the sound was. Especially the zombie that was right in front of them. It just turned and leaped into the darkness. And that was something Deku, he didn't want to stick around and start to inspect. as the two of them need to start to at least bolt for the staircase and run up. Deku grabbing Kendo, as you do have where Kendo, while she's running up, because of her socks, she actually does go to slip. And the moment she does, you do have where a loud crash is heard. As whenever Kendo she does go to fall, she's going to try and bring her hand up. Her actually trying to grab the staircase that's slippery. And whenever she does go to try and grab it, you do have where her hand, it does go to slide, and she does go to smash her fist directly into the wall. As her forehead is smashed directly onto the staircase, and she does go to start sliding down. Now, when she does go to slide down, she does try to roll her body over, as you do have where something does come out of the darkness. It flying directly towards the staircase and directly trying to grab Kendo. It goes to wrap its way onto and stab right into her foot. As Kendo she does go to scream out about how it's got her. And Deku it takes him a second, as this thing it does start to try and pull Kendo slowly before it does get a bit more confident. Kendo actually going to reach for the railing and she's going to grab it, and Deku, he actually does watch as she does going to turn and try to throw out her hands, asking and begging for help. Deku, he does just go to reach down and grab his left arm. As Deku, when he does go to try and smash this thing down with it, he does at least start to get a bit more loose on the grip. As this thing, it does go to try and grab and hit Deku. It finding Deku's metal arm, as it does start wrapping its way onto and coiling around that. And Deku does start to feel pressure, as the tightening mechanism, it does start to at least put pressure down around the part of his arm that was severed. And the moment this actually does go to happen, you do actually have where Deku does at least start to hear the metal start bending together. As whenever Kendo, she does at least go to turn looking towards Deku, she does go to bring up her knife and stab directly into the forearm where his sleeve would be. Her going to rip the knife and actually stab into the creature. As the moment it does happen, you do have where Kendo is going to grab towards Deku's sleeve and go to pull it off. The creature lunging back towards them as Deku does go to step forwards, and this thing does go to grab onto the metal arm. It's pulling the metal arm as it does rip it directly off of Deku and pull it back into the darkness. And the moment that actually does happen, Deku does look at the remaining parts of the metal and mechanism, as he does go to turn and grab Kendo. The moment he does go to start running the staircase with her, as you do have where she's trying to keep her composure. The moment the two are both up, you do have where they do go to dive into a building. Since you did actually have where the gunfire stops. And that was something that everybody, they were well made aware of. And Deku was trying to think. He doesn't know how long they were down there, but it felt like a while. Okay. Okay, that thing scared me. Kendo, are you alright? Deku going to turn towards her. As you do have where she does go to look up towards Deku before looking back down at her leg. And Deku, he does go to bring his hand up and go to pull back part of her pants. Him rolling up her pant leg as he does see the wound. And the moment he does try to stare at it for a minute. He can't tell what type of wound that's supposed to be. That's, well, clearly some flesh was stripped away. But even then, what the hell was that? That's not something they've encountered before. Okay, well, apparently there's something in the subway. Noted. That being when Deku does go to mentally jot down. As whenever he does go to start pulling and using his knife to cut off a piece of Kendo's pant leg, you do have where Deku does go to try and wrap it around Kendo's leg, but he does ask her for a hand here. Her actually going to look down towards Deku as she is looking towards him, and she does look kind of confused. Deku asking if she can listen. What? I'm sorry. I lost my focus for a minute there. It just... my head hurts. Did you hit your head? I don't know. Shit. Deku at least going to bring his hand up and grab her on the forehead. As Deku, he does at least go to bring his hand around and talk about how he doesn't feel any bumps, so he thinks that she's fine. However, he does need her to help him here. Her looking down and seeing that Deku, he's trying to wrap up her leg. her going to bring her hands down to try and help. And Deku does at least try to perform a bit of a test on her, trying to ask her at least some basic things and her name. And while she does check out on some stuff, you do for Deku, he does try to examine her eyes. And it does show that she does have a concussion. Now, you do actually have where Deku does get a radio in, talking about how he found Kendo, but they got into a bit of a snag. And he doesn't know exactly what they missed. Jesus, dude, you've been gone for like 15 minutes. Have I? Yeah, listen, shit's going crazy. But I think All Might's died down. What do you mean? Well, he was attacking somebody, and after ripping them apart, he just got, well, he got caught on something. Deku confused. As whenever he does go to reach out towards Kendo, he does tell her to stay close to him, and to keep a gun and point it at things that aren't them, and makes her to shoot. Now, this is something that Deku, he does at least have Kendo verify him on. And she is holding a gun as Deku, he does try to help her stand and move. Now, we do have where they do make their way into the camp, where they are looking around for All Might. From what Deku's heard, All Might, he may have buffed down. And whenever he actually is walking around, you do have where he does see somebody who, they are bending down directly in front of something. And whenever Deku does go to walk over, you do have where he does go to bring up a gun. Him pulling back the hammer as the person, they do go from smiling to somewhat, okay, so this is happening now. What are you doing? I'm doing whatever I damn well please. Then I'm going to slowly stand up, as Deku does talk about how if they do go to turn around, he's going to blast them in their goddamn kneecap. The person going to turn around and try and call Deku on his bluff. As they do talk about how he's just a fucking, before Deku, after going to bend the gun down, he does go to pull the trigger. The person, it does take them a minute. All they did was register Deku moving the gun. And the moment they did go to put weight down forwards on that foot, they did feel all that weight suddenly just give way, along with even the warm sensation running down the, well, what's left of it. Now, the person, they do go falling forwards and grabbing away at their leg, talking about how, what the fuck? And Deku, he does go to look down towards what the person they're staring at. As Deku, he does see an emaciated and very skinny All Might. All Might, he's got blood surrounding his entire face, primarily around the area around his jaw, and well, yeah, his arm that he's trying to reach out with, as his legs, they're clearly caught on pieces of rubble. And Deku can tell that there is at least a massive chunk missing from one of All Might's his deltoids. Now, Deku, he does watch his All Might, he does go to try and bring up the arm where the massive chunk of flesh is missing. And whenever he does, Deku just watches that arm, he can barely even keep it up, as exposed bones and meat can be seen underneath it. And Deku, it does feel a lot more surreal to him. He remembers where he was almost 2 years ago. He remembers meeting All Might, and he remembers the first time they even really started training. All Might, he was everything Deku thought he was. All Might, he was a savior, a saint even. And right now, he doesn't know any words to put to this. This feeling. He has to kill somebody close to him once again. But this isn't murder, he's putting them to rest. They're suffering. And Deku, he does go to bring up a gun, as he does stare directly at All Might's lifeless eyes. As Deku, he does this go to watch All Might go to open his mouth, as he does go to at least start saying something by moving his lips. And Deku doesn't have it register. Until All Might, he does just go to whisper one simple word. Izuku. And that's something that Deku, he does get caught off by. And he doesn't even really think. As Deku, he does get to bend down and say Toshi. And he does ask if he's alright. All Might, he does go to somewhat look around. And Deku, he can watch as All Might, he doesn't go to look down towards his hands before he does see the look on his face. All Might tries to bring up his hand. However, the moment he does try to, with some extra force, you do have with that arm, it does collapse limply and not listen to what he does say. As All Might, whenever that does happen, he does go to try and bring up his other arm, however, it's not working too well either. And All Might, he does go to try and bring his face down and rub the blood off of it. And Deku is watching this strange behavior. As All Might, he does look up and say the word hero. Yeah, All Might, hero. Deku bring the gun back up. As he does talk about how you were my hero. And he's very sorry for this. But he hopes that he can forgive him. And Deku, he does go to close his eyes. As he does go to pull the trigger. Now, a shot does ring out. And Deku, after the shot rang out, you do have where his crew, they do come in. And Deku, he did go to walk away from the scene that he just left behind him. As he has to go to check out the factory and everything else in this area to make sure that it has been emptied out properly. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.